Picture this. Two 18-year-olds graduate high school the exact same year. One packs up and heads off to a 4-year university for a standard business degree. The other skips the dorms entirely and walks straight into an electrical apprenticeship. Well, today we're diving right into this because what I'm about to show you completely shatters the conventional wisdom we've all been handed about education and wealth. I'm Zak, and welcome to the Zak Wealth Files. In this explainer, we're breaking down a massive financial blind spot. My goal today is to make the real, verifiable 2026 data around these two paths simple, accurate, and actually useful for you. By the time we finish up, you'll walk away knowing exactly how to evaluate your own career trajectory using real numbers, not outdated assumptions.
So here's the surprising stat that we just have to address right out of the gate. By age 30, one of those two 18-year-olds has a meaningfully higher net worth than the other. Now, if you guessed the college graduate, well, the actual 2026 data says you're probably wrong. We're looking at a net worth difference of somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000. That is a massive head start in early wealth building, and you know what? That gap favors the electrician.
To understand exactly how this happens, we really have to look at our tale of two paths. Now, for this comparison to be completely fair, we have to assume both 18-year-olds have the exact same starting point. The exact same intelligence and the exact same work ethic. The only thing they're changing is the mechanical structure of their education. The business student spends 4 years paying tuition to learn. The electrical apprentice gets paid to learn from day one. To figure out how the electrician pulls so incredibly far ahead by age 30, we've got to look at the math, starting strictly with the traditional college route.
Okay, here's what the financial reality looks like for the typical university student right now. The average cost of a 4-year degree at a public, in-state university runs about $30,000 a year, and that's when you include tuition, fees, room and board. So that means a full degree easily scales over $100,000, especially since a huge chunk of students take 5 or even 6 years to actually finish. According to recent data from the National Association of Colleges and Employers, our business major graduates around age 22 carrying roughly $33,500 in student debt. And their starting salary? It sits around $58,800 a year. The absolutely crucial takeaway here is that for 4 solid years, they weren't earning a full-time income. They were essentially paying for the opportunity to eventually earn one, which means starting their adult financial life deep in the red. Now, let's look at the exact same timeline through the lens of the trade path, using real figures from the Bureau of Labor Statistics.
This brings up the first big misconception most folks have. A licensed electrician currently earns a median salary of about $61,590 a year. That means the entry-level trade salary actually edges out the average bachelor's degree starting salary of $58,800 right now. But honestly, that starting salary being slightly higher isn't even the core reason the trade path wins the early wealth building game.
The crucial differentiator is this. Apprenticeships completely flip the education funding model upside down. An electrical apprenticeship means you are literally being paid to learn the trade. Specifically, union apprenticeship programs can pay apprentices well over $100,000 combined across their multi-year training period. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. By the time our business major is walking across the stage at age 22 to accept their diploma and, their debt, the apprentice has already been earning a real income for several years. And way more importantly, they have absolute zero student debt dragging down their net worth. This brings us to the underlying mechanics of how that massive $150,000 wealth gap actually forms in the first place.
If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, remember this quote: "The trade path's real financial advantage isn't the salary itself, it's starting the compounding clock 3 to 4 years earlier." Think of compound interest like rolling a snowball down a hill, right? The earlier you start rolling it, the more massive momentum it gains. The business major spends ages 18 through 22 paying for school, graduates with debt, and starts out behind before their first paycheck even clears. The electrician, on the other hand, gets 3 to 4 extra years of earning and investing with a completely clean starting balance. Every single year you spend paying down debt instead of investing is a year of compounding growth that just doesn't happen. That early start is the invisible engine driving that massive net worth lead. However, part of building trust here on the channel is presenting the whole truth, and the data definitely doesn't universally favor trade school. Here's the part most people get completely wrong when comparing these two paths. They treat all college degrees as equal, and they just aren't. For certain high ROI or return on investment majors, the math flips decisively. Take a computer science graduate, for example. The data shows them starting around $75,900 a year.
Because of that significantly higher starting salary, plus a much steeper long-term salary growth curve in the tech industry, comparative analysis showed the computer science majors surpassing the electricians' total earnings by their early 30s. So they completely eat up that early head start.
And, there's a broader, longer-term dynamic at play here, too. Research consistently finds that the trades strongly outperform bachelor's degrees financially during the first 5 to 10 years of a career. However, right at the 10 to 15-year mark, things really begin to shift. The financial advantage of a bachelor's degree in higher-earning fields materializes because management, director, and executive career tracks start opening up. Those upper-level corporate tracks are typically much less available within most traditional trade paths. So the question isn't just which pays more today, it's actually which long-term ceiling fits what you want to build for your life.
Now, you might be wondering why this comparison looks so much different today than it did for, say, our parents. Well, several 2026 economic factors have converged to shift the landscape. First, college tuition has risen substantially. Second, a massive shortage in skilled trade labor has forced trade wages upward. Third, current student loan interest structures mean that taking on high debt for a low-return degree can create a brutal cycle where your monthly payments barely even cover the accruing interest. And finally, the elephant in the room, generative AI. We're seeing AI tools begin to disrupt entry-level demand for certain desk jobs and traditionally degree-required roles. Meanwhile, skilled trades, which rely heavily on physical presence and hands-on environmental judgment, remain comparatively insulated from AI disruption, at least for now. But I promised you this explainer wouldn't just be theory, so let's turn this into an actionable strategy you can use this week.
All right, here is your precise 5-step framework for calculating the absolute best path for you. Step 1. Research the specific numbers. Stop using broad categories. Compare the exact salary and debt load of a nursing degree against an electrical apprenticeship, not just college versus trades. Step 2. Investigate paid apprenticeships. Don't just look at trade schools that charge tuition. Find the union programs that pay you to learn, eliminating the cost side of the equation entirely. Step 3. Plan your 10 to 15-year trajectory. Does the field offer a clear path to management or business ownership? Step 4. If you choose college, weigh the exact ROI of your intended major heavily. Going into debt for a low ROI field carries immense, well-documented financial risk. And Step 5. Literally the most critical rule on this channel. Invest first, spend what's left. Start investing from your very first paycheck, because as we've seen today, time in the market is your greatest wealth-building asset. Now, I have to provide an honest and really vital caveat here. This explainer relies on general, publicly available 2026 averages. It's meant for educational purposes, not personalized career or financial advice. Individual outcomes vary wildly based on your location, your work ethic, and market conditions. And let's be real for a second. A career is way more than just a financial spreadsheet. Genuine interest, your natural aptitude, and long-term satisfaction matter enormously. Before making life-altering decisions, you should always combine this framework with your own deep research and potentially consult a licensed advisor or career counselor.
So the old assumption that a college degree is automatically the superior financial path, it just no longer holds up against reality. Depending on the major and the debt, the trades, especially paid apprenticeships, offer an incredible, well-documented head start. But for high ROI fields, a degree absolutely still pays off in the long run. The secret is that there's no universal right answer, but there is a right answer for your specific situation once you sit down and run the real numbers. If this gave you a clearer, more honest picture of wealth building, well, that's exactly what Zak Wealth Files is all about. Subscribe if you value clarity and truth over hype. And I really want to hear from you in the comments. Which path did you take, and knowing what you know now, would you choose the exact same one again? Run your own numbers, keep compounding, and I'll see you in the next explainer.